Hello there, I'm Joe and welcome to my 12th main video. This is my review of NeonHat from developer Entalto Studios, which released yesterday for €25 or 20 British pounds respectively. I assume the US price will be around $30, but it doesn't seem to be out yet in that market as of this recording. You're being greeted by this nice looking retro room, which serves no purpose though. I would have guessed that you can listen to the soundtrack by interacting with the record player, but well, a missed opportunity I guess. First, a quick look at the tutorial. It gets the job done to teach you the controls, which aren't complicated to begin with though. The controls are very simple. You can accelerate, brake, air brake to cut tight corners, and shoot of course. That's it. It's a combat racing flying game with 9 tracks that all can be played in 3 different modes, plus 5 boss battles to top it off. You can choose whether you want to play Race, Pursuit or Extreme Derby mode on each track. We'll be taking a quick look at Pursuit and Extreme Derby modes towards the end of the video. Furthermore, you can play Race and Pursuit modes in 3 difficulties, which basically are speed classes. Kilobyte is rather slow and well manageable, but Gigabyte can feel very speedy, especially in the more bandy tracks. And here's track 1 in all 3 speed classes. First Kilobyte, then Megabyte and finally Gigabyte. As you will see, the speed increases noticeably, and on later tracks with more turns, Gigabyte is actually quite fast. That was Kilobyte class, a rather mellow affair. Think 50cc in Super Mario Kart. Let's check out Megabyte class then. Faster for sure, but still quite manageable. And not exactly furious yet. And finally, Gigabyte class. Since the first track is rather easy, the bump up in speed doesn't get you into that much trouble, but like I said, in later tracks this will become quite challenging. Note that the rest of the racing footage in this video was captured in the Kilobyte class. In race mode, you'll be flying against 3 other contenders, and the goal is to ideally finish the track in first place. Though any placing will do for progression really, even 4th. Also, the lowest difficulty, aka speed class, will be enough to unlock everything as well. Once you've cleared the first 8 tracks, you then must defeat 4 bosses. After that, you race on the 9th track, and after that one, the final boss awaits, which is a real bitch at first, but not that tough to beat once you get your strategy down. You have a double laser weapon which you can fire at contenders ahead of you, which will slow them down for a short while. There are no upgrades to unlock, and you cannot customize your ride in any shape or form besides changing the color of your dual gun or 2 separate single beam guns if you play with the move controllers. You can either play with the move controllers or the DualShock, but after a while I just used the DualShock as the moves don't really add much to the mix outside of having 2 separate laser beams for shooting. But that didn't feel like a necessity or giving you an edge gameplay-wise to me. The DualShock controls also rely on leaning the controller up, down, left and right, so no thumbsticks are in use here. And in the settings, you can choose whether you'll be viewing everything from a rudimentary cockpit or without it. Both options seemed fine to me, but I guess I prefer to have the cockpit. As for trophies, this is pretty straightforward and nothing too challenging is required of you. Though getting the platinum requires some patience and effort, as you have to defeat all 5 bosses without taking a single hit. It can be done, but actually isn't that easy, especially when it comes to the final boss. The graphics are nice, the synthwave art style works, but didn't blow my socks off either. It kinda just looks good and serviceable, I'd say. The same goes for the music. If synthwave is your jam and you dig some heavy 80s vibes, you'll be audiovisually pleased by the experience. But yeah, for a lack of a better word, I found it just pleasing and serviceable, but not outstanding in any way. And for a game that doesn't appear to be too taxing on the hardware, I was quite disappointed with some performance issues. When you take a really sharp turn, the frame rate isn't all that smooth, and the other racers are constantly juddering when flying close to you, which is pretty annoying. Maybe these issues will get fixed in a patch though. All in all, it took me a good 3 hours to beat the game. And a good portion of that was spent on the bosses, particularly the final one. And going for the final 5 trophies, where you have to beat the bosses without getting hit once, extends the playtime further by a couple of hours for sure. On the tracks, I think you'll spend the most time in race mode, as Pursuit requires you to shoot down some drones in order to win. And that wasn't all that fun to me and seemed rather pointless. Also because this mode doesn't seem to be required for any of the trophies or the progression. I can't be sure about that, however, as I unlocked all track-related trophies in race mode. Maybe it could have been done in Pursuit as well. And Extreme Derby didn't grab my attention either, as you can't hit any of the 4 sides of the track, left, right, floor and ceiling, or you'll take damage. And the few times I tried this mode, I found it really difficult, especially on the later tracks. This seemed borderline undoable without lots of practice. Again, as this isn't required for the overall progression or any of the trophies, I guess just like Pursuit, this mode is only for the true NeonHat enthusiasts out there. For me though, race mode sufficed. All in all, I had a decent time with this game, but ultimately found it to be quite mediocre. I guess I was hoping for something more exciting than what we got, really. The flying never feels all that engaging and the racing never has you at the edge of your seat. I think if your vehicle would lean into the corners, making the screen tilt, which it doesn't, the experience would be much more thrilling and engaging. But the way it is, it feels you're just kind of floating and cruising through the air rather than racing and doing some daredevil flying. And it doesn't help at all that the whole handling of your vehicle feels kinda stiff, at least to me. If you do fall in love with this game, however, there's quite some replay value even after you're done with the trophies. Clearing all 3 tracks in all 3 modes and all the available difficulties should prove to be quite the challenge. But if you are going for the 100% completion stamp in the game's menu, I'd say go for it if you're up for it. Here's a quick look at 2 of the 5 bosses, so you get an idea what awaits you. The bosses are a nice diversion from the track action, and the final boss is especially cool, and the fight against it, though being a bit lengthy for my taste, can be quite nerve-wracking. And by the way, this snake isn't the final boss, which I'm not spoiling, of course. Here's a quick look at Pursuit mode. You have these flying drones in front of you. Shoot the 3 guardians and the blue guy will drop its shield. Rinse and repeat until you defeat him. If you're too slow, your score and in-game trophy will be lower, but there's no actual time limit. And a very quick look at Extreme Derby. As you can see, I keep bumping into things and basically crash and burn. So on to the scorecard. I give this game, wait for it, 2.5 out of 5 NeonHats. It's okay if you're looking for a simplistic but stylish flying/racing experience, but I can't help but feel this should have turned out much better. And bearing in mind that this costs a pricey €25, I honestly can't quite recommend this for that price. And that's a wrap. Hope to see you around on this channel and have a great day. Joe, signing off.